Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Beacon, a home for those who have a passion for filmmaking and the unusual. The Haunted Hinsdale House. Those who walk there do not walk alone. Paraware, apparel for the action-seeking paranormal investigator. Dragonfly art and soul for all of your magical, metaphysical, and spiritual needs. Mystery Control, your go-to feed for science, magic, true crime, the paranormal, and so much more. Para-Niagara, one of the top rated destinations in Western New York. The Black Cat Lounge is part of the Paraflix Entertainment Network. Hey everybody, Tim Shaw here. It is so great that you are here. I am thrilled. I am thrilled that you're here on our Tuesday night. Everybody hug each other. Just go like this. Hug each other because you deserve it. You all deserve a hug because you're here tonight. Hey, I'm so glad you are. You know, we do have sad news. I mean, of course, we all know by now that legendary rocker Ozzy Osbourne has passed on to the great beyond. And you know what? Many of you know that I've worked with his son, Jack, on a couple episodes of Portals to Help. And I have to say that from what everybody said and from what everybody has told me, he was really just a good guy and he worked hard, and what a fitting way to go out. What a fitting way to go out. So we're going to leave it at that. Hey, what else are you guys doing? I've been out just kind of relaxing this week, kind of just kicking back a little bit this week because my schedule has been insane. So I wanted to go and just relax a little bit. And my idea of relaxing is go to the gym, turn around, come home and work on some research, do some fun stuff like that, do a little bit of writing, and that's the way we love it. That's the way we love doing it. So tonight we have our guest is an old friend of mine. Oh my God, we go back many years. But before I bring him on, this is what we're going to be talking about today. Feet. That's right, feet. Because why? Everybody loves my feet. But look at this one. Look at this cast. Is this not a cool cast? This was originally casted by Lauren Coleman in the 60s. Decatur, Illinois. Is that neat? It looks almost half human, half ape-like. We're going to be talking about all sorts of cryptids tonight. Now, here's one that I got from Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Oh, and this was found in the Pacific West. Take a look at this bear. You want to talk about Bigfoot? This is one hell of a Bigfoot. Take a look at that. That's huge, isn't it? But yeah, this is part of my collection that I have. I have a few more. I have 4 or 5 more of these. But Jeff Meldrum is a great guy, and man, what an authority he is. And I got a chance to talk to him. As a matter of fact, he was in the booth right next to mine on several different events. I got a chance to pick his mind, pick his brain on several things, and it was so great. So great. That's one thing about going to conferences. You get a chance to go and visit and speak with these people that are just you think to yourselves, oh my God, I'll never be able to fathom what they talk about and the information that they have. And they're just all down to earth people, just like our guest tonight. Our guest. Got to tell you what, the guy is a lifelong researcher. When I say lifelong, yeah, I think he was out looking for cryptids. He was wearing a diaper and maybe a onesie when he first started going out. So that's what I can say. He's the founder of the Center for Cryptozoological Studies. I met him oh my gosh, many, many, many years ago, and he puts on one of the a great event he's partial part of the Butler Paracon down in Butler, Pennsylvania. He hails from the wilds, and I love when he on his Facebook he talks about the holler. The holler. I start laughing every time. But he lives in West Virginia, and we all know that that's the hotbed of crypto studies. Although I'll tell you what, Western Pennsylvania has quite a bit of them. So let's bring him on. Good friend, great guy. He just reminded me he's been on my show 4 times. Can you believe that 4 times? He must be good because I keep bringing him on. And he is. He's fantastic. Please, everybody, welcome a great guy, Mr. Briqn Seech. Bri, brother, how are you?
I'm doing great, Tim. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for being on tonight. Hey, you know what? We're talking off air. 40 years next year.
Yes.
40 years?
40 years for our first research group, Q, Center for Unexplained Events, formed in 1986. So it'll be 40 years in January.
Can't be possible.
We're proud of that, Tim. You know, we couldn't have done it without, help from, people like you and all of our friends, and our group members, all the great researchers, Paul Johnson, Jody Cook, Fred Saluga, all the people, Dr. Paul Johnson, all the great people that have helped us through the years. We would not be where we are, or would not have made it 40 years without everybody's help. Believe me, we are very blessed.
Man, it's so funny because we go back over we go back over almost close to 20 years now, right?
I'm trying to think. I saw you at a PBS conference in where did I meet? Where was that at?
Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh, yeah, Greensburg, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. That's going back a long time. That's the one. That's the one that I realized that when you go to a conference, most of the people there are normal. They're not walking around in Star Trek uniforms. Well, one guy was, but you got to have one in every group. But it was probably one of the most enlightening things that I've ever done. And I got a chance to meet you, and we got spent time with Terry and you and all the great people. And you gave me a lot of research information. Which I still have in my files. Speaking about files, I got to tell everybody, this guy here, you heard of the X Files. Well, you've never seen X Files. You've never seen the S Files. My friend Eric and I, when they were still living in Pennsylvania, we went down to film. And we did an episode of Curiosity, one of our former projects that we worked on. He took me into this room. Well, we filmed in your library.
Yeah.
And for a private esoteric library, I've never seen that many books in my life. And that's going back a few years, so I'm sure that's like double the amount that you have now.
It's bigger now. And you know what? It's bigger, but we have it all shoved in a small room now. I'll take some pictures and send them to you.
Dear Lord, yeah, I can't imagine. You had filing cabinets full of unbelievable all these case files that you guys have had reports on. How far back does that go?
Well, we had Dr. Paul Johnson give us a lot of his case files, and you're talking from the late 60s and 70s. Even
wow.
There's stuff in there that we've actually I shared with Heather Moser from Small Town Monsters. We were able to get on some of their shows, and we've been happy to be able to share that with people and to work with people. We always say it's about the phenomena. We're just messengers. This is whatever happened. We're just trying to relay that out to the people because we're pretty low key. You know that. Not a lot of people know about us, just regionally maybe, but. More people know us because of some of these small town monster shows, but it's we're still more low key than some.
Well, I think one of the greatest things about you and everybody that works with you is the fact that you're not afraid to go and share your information. You're able, you help everybody. And you know what, coming from coming from the metaphysical paranormal field where things can get a tad cutthroat, and then go into the cryptozoological field and ufology, it's all cutthroat. And it's like, well, I don't understand it. I've never understood it. But you guys go out of your way to help people. And I love that. And share the information with everybody. And I got to ask you, how many library presentations do you guys do a year? Because every time I turn around, you're in a library.
Well, I did Hillview over the weekends, and that was like Terry and I, like, combined, I think we've done like 94 presentations over the years, which might sound like a lot, but they've all taken place since maybe 2010, 2005. So even though we've been as an organization for almost 40, we've only been doing presentations since under 20 years. So we do about average of about 5 presentations a year. It might seem like more sometimes, because when we do them, they tend to clump together in 2 or 3 months, and then we don't do any for 3 or 4 months. So, yeah.
You have to do it like that, because otherwise it'll drive you crazy. Before COVID, I was averaging between doing the shows, events, and talks, I was doing 34 a year.
Wow.
And that was like insane. And I had done that quite a few. And then COVID hit, and of course the brakes went on. And then afterwards, I started slowing down. I started going and really concentrating on different subjects and being able to go and studying the subjects to the point where I really was comfortable enough to go out there and speak on them. Where sometimes people, I remember the days people would come up to me and say, "Can you talk about this?" Why, hell yeah, I can do that. And then it's like, now I have to like kind of have a superficial knowledge, where now I have a deeper knowledge of it all, which I do love. Let's talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, Dogman. Now, dude, West Virginia, is that not? I know Michigan has a lot of dogman sightings and stuff, but recently I've come across quite a few that have come from your neck of the woods. Is it something that, do you feel that is more regional, or do you think that maybe it's just because more people are actually seeing these creatures running around?
I think more people are actually kind of starting to talk about it now. For years it was like, people would talk about Bigfoot, but after after the series Finding Bigfoot came out,
right,
that's when there was an explosion. I remember us doing a couple library presentations after Finding Bigfoot came out, and they were packed. We had like 100 people, and you couldn't get enough of Bigfoot then. Now it's, not as I tell Kenneth, I said hi. He popped up. Now once, see, Linda Godfrey, Linda Godfrey was the she's the one that started most of the Dogman research,
right,
and Jody Cook, two of the ones, and so we started our research, me, Terry, and Fred Saluga, in 2007 after getting a case from Jody Cook in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And since then, we don't get a lot, Tim. We don't get a lot of cases, but we are working on some new stuff right now. But we might have 17 cases or so that we've, looked into. We still don't get a lot. And it's, when you tell people, it's like, when you say Dogman, well, what is it? And I go, well, I hate to say this. It looks like a werewolf. And when I say a Hollywood werewolf, when I say that, it's like, do I think people can change into werewolves? No. But you know what? We talked to this one guy. We went to a Bigfoot meeting years ago in Ohio, one of Doug Waller's.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned Dogman, and there was a kid standing by me, and he says, "I got to tell you something." He says, "I was in my grandfather. It was his grandfather, another friend. So he says, I saw my grandfather go into a field, and he turned into one of these werewolves. And he must have seen by the look on my face." He says, "This is true. By the look on your face, you don't believe me." I'm like, "Well, I know that you have your skinwalkers who, what out west you have your skinwalkers who shamans who claim that they can actually turn into wolves, things like that.
Right.
Well, maybe it's more of a mental projection. Like they're still human, but somehow it can mentally project that what you're seeing. You understand? So again, as far as what some of these creatures are, especially these dogmen, I think they're some form of an interdimensional type creature. It would have to be. One of the best cases out there is, I think I've mentioned to you this one before, is Barton Nunley out of Kentucky.
Yes.
Where a farmer was in the field and he sees a shimmer and this creature walks out of it, looks around, sniffs the air, sees the farmer, growls, steps back in that shimmer, and is gone. If that's not interdimensional, guys, I don't know what is. I mean,
well, I think a lot of what we've been working with over the years. Now, I mean, let's face it. Back in the 1950s, when all this started, I mean, when we really, I mean, there were legends and everything before that, but you started getting all these. It actually goes into the 40s. In the beginning of the atomic age, you start having all these sightings, and you start having like I always call it the rivet and metal spaceship type things. And you started seeing that. You started the Men in Black, and you started getting all more and more reports like that. And then as time goes on, we're starting to see more reports of something that may be interdimensional, and that's UFOs, Bigfoot, dogmen. This whole thing starts to become more viable and more prevalent. And the more that we start looking at it and we start thinking about it, we really don't find, remains or feces but we do get prints. Now, I mean, you have to think about that. It would only make sense that it would be interdimensional in these instances. But I got to ask you about, I think it was a case, where was it? Was it outside of Pittsburgh? I can't remember. It was with an Amish kid. Do you remember that case? By any chance? It was I remember it was a dogman case, and what happened was, and they whatever it was killing sheep and mutilating them, and what they found, it was actually a mentally challenged Amish boy.
I don't remember that.
Because I was trying to remember if you were the one that had told me that or somebody else, maybe somebody else, but I remember that clearly. It was just it wasn't that, well, maybe it was in Lafayette County. I'm trying to remember. It's been so long, but it was just like, oh, okay. But for every one of those, how many more that can't we explain? And we can't explain that human element every time. It can't. So if we start looking at it as interdimensional, Bri, do you think that possibly that we're being kind of like more than one species is coming to visit us, or why do you think that it becomes so prevalent?
I wish I had an answer for you. I think it's more. Here's the thing. I think a lot of what we research, and I honestly believe it's about the people reporting what they've seen. So over the weekend, we got a report from a lady, a younger lady out of New York. This is out of New York, and I'm still trying to get specifics on it, okay? Because this just happened Saturday. Her and another friend, they saw what they claim was a rake. You've heard about the rake, right?
Oh, and they really?
Yeah. And again, I once I get more information on this, Tim, I'll message it to you. So they see this thing, and I says, I tried to get her to draw it there. She says, "Oh, I can't draw it." She says, "I'll try to look up a picture and send it to you." Now, if she did send something in the last couple of days, I haven't checked my email. And I said, this is interesting because where we live now in the holler, I know you love that term.
I love that. I just love that.
right down the road, across the street and up the hill, our neighbor claims he saw one of these things also. Now, this was several years back. He said it was white, didn't have fur, it had skin, long fingernails. And He said he saw it up on the hill, which if you would look, it would be like back there. Okay. And I went up there looking for it 2 or 3 times. Of course, nothing. But he says not only that, he says, we live in the holler, and up on the hill, there's other houses. He claims some people up there saw it too. Now, like I says, there is a high tension wire up there, which I've been up there a couple times measuring, and yeah, you bring the EMF meter next to that thing, and it goes off.
Oh yeah, those pin it, yeah.
So, one of our kind of working theories, at least on the dog man, is somehow these creatures need an energy source or something to try to pop through, whatever your term is, bleed through, pop through.
Right.
Do they need, and again, I don't know, do they need an energy source? Now, several of our cases have come from either a power substation or close to high tension wires. So again, even one of our mutual people who we know, and I'll mention the name later. I'm not going to mention it on the air because we don't mention names. Her and her daughter were walking in a cemetery in Newcastle.
Right.
So you could probably guess who it is, but it was right before a thunderstorm. So the girl goes in the car, and the mom says, "I'm just going to go walk. I'm going to take a real quick walk right up the hill and right back." Clouds are coming in. All of a sudden, boom, 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 lightning all over the place. All of a sudden, this 4-foot tall wolf-like creature comes from the woods. He's walking around the car. Okay, walking around the car, growling, and the dog is barking and blah, blah, blah. And then the mom comes back, and this thing just slips back into the woods. There, it was like, okay, electricity. Boom. An energy source. Now, you do a lot of paranormal work. A lot of people say, hey, that electricity, the rain, some of those weather factors can enhance paranormal activity. So if they can enhance paranormal activity, can they enhance an energy to have these things spin out? Again, not in every case, but at least 3 or 4 of them by power substations or by high tension wires. So it's a working kind of theory, but it doesn't account for all of them. But it does seem, it would be hard for me to fathom that there's Bigfoot, there's Mothman, there's Dogmen, there's Rakes, there's all these other creatures actually out there in the woods. It would be a stretch to me to think there's all these creatures out there. Maybe they get together for card parties once a month or something like that. But I just, and Bigfoot doesn't like to lose. Okay, he's the sore loser. Just saying. But I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, it's funny because I've interviewed some people who have a really heavy science background, and what they're doing is they're looking primarily paranormal, but they're looking for a pattern, and they're using Geiger counters to measure radiation.
I have one.
Yeah, I do too. Barometric pressure meters. Static meters. I mean, I use all of those.
Dry-field. I have a dry-field.
Dry fields are the best. I actually broke mine, so I have to replace that.
I love mine. Yeah.
Oh my! Well, mine was ancient. I bought mine 1,000 years ago. But it's like, I think that there is a pattern, and I think that I don't my basic theory is, I have to agree with you. There could be one type of entity. There could be one type of thing that may be interdimensional. But I think it's the way we are able to perceive it because of the energy levels that are surrounding us.
Yeah, vibrations.
And I think a lot of that is from inside of here, because I believe that we are the ones that are actually being able to go and create the forms of these creatures. Because if they're energetic, if they come through, if they're interdimensional, they're energetic and vibratory in nature.
Yes.
So that means that would be how we would interpret it.
Yeah.
Now, I studied under Tom Brown Jr., the late Tom Brown Jr.
Oh, wow. Okay. He's like one of a hero of mine. Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you, I went to the Omega Institute to study natural awareness, and it was everything but natural awareness. It was like the greatest. It blew my mind. It totally just blew my mind. But,
actually, you did send me. Remember, you sent me, and I watched those. Yeah. I have most of his books too. I mean, the man was amazing.
Yeah. He was the tracker. If anybody ever wants to read some really amazing stories and his life story, he's got probably about 12 books out.
Yes.
And he was a naturalist, and he was again, he was a tracker, but I think I always consider him an American philosopher
Yes.
because of the fact that he was so enmeshed in so many different things, and he was just an amazing person. But the one thing I have to say is when we were doing an exercise where we were going and imagining ourselves into an animal form, the vibration was so strong, and I always remember the vibration coming over me was so strong, and it was so animalistic. It was almost as if it was a wolf-like, and I started to stalk somebody. You know, this guy, there was like 100 of us, 60 or 100 of us. I don't forget how many people were out in these fields, and we were going, and it was like drawn, and it was like as we were working, it was like so focused, and I often wonder if that inside of my head could somehow be translated outside, and that's how skinwalkers are work. You know, skinwalkers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, or again, it's how we perceive it. I know people that will see something, right? There'll be three of us in a room, and a ghost walks by, right? Three of us.
Yes.
All three of us will see something different.
Something different. Yeah. Fred always says that about UFOs too. Same thing. You see something in the sky, three people see three different things.
Exactly. So I often wonder when we start talking about interdimensional beings and interdimensional forms, how that, I think because of the way our brains are wired, I believe that that's the way it works. It's like you know, it's the same thing with psychics and mediums. You put them in a room, three of us will get the same thing, except it'll be like different parts of the story, but it all relates. And so how does that work? You know, and you think, well, maybe that's all because of vibration and energy. So
it's real interesting on that too. I'd like to say on that one part. So we did an investigation. It's been about 4 years ago, which we're going back here this September. 2 Mile Run Campground. So we go, and I have my little frequency machine, which I talked to you about that before.
Right.
So we're playing it, and we walked down so far from the machine, and our friend Leah and we had 3 psychics there. Okay, we had their dog, and this dog actually, we got to this one spot that it felt really weird by this fallen tree. The dog ran right in front of us and was looking and would not let us go, would not let us pass there.
Really?
Our friend Leah and the other friend Annette said that they had this vision of this Wendigo type creature going back to the 1800s, and it slaughtered his family. And they both, 2 out of the 3 had the vision. The other just had the vision. It was a nice morning or something, and this creature attacked. But so there's 3. I've been on two separate things we've had 3 psychics. And you get 3 psychics together, you like you said, this one has this part of the story, this one has this, and this one has this. And that I had to like interrupt and say, hey, this is what happened to us. They see.
Right.
Okay, I got this part of the picture, but together that is the full picture. So again, that's really interesting. I'm glad. I want to tell my friend that.
But also now, by you using that machine, you're actually creating, or I shouldn't say not creating, but you're adding into like almost creating an artificial environment.
Yes.
So now your charging area, and I forget if I'm not mistaken, I forget which kind of ions it affects. It's been so long since we talked about it, but wouldn't it make sense that is what aids into those visions? And if that is the way, if that's the way things work, you're going to need the high tension lines. You're going to have some kind of radiation. You're going to have the correct barometric pressure. You're going to have the correct static electricity. And when it becomes the perfect storm, I believe that's when we start getting these. I think we're getting those more and more now. And the crossovers too. See, this is something else that I've always been fascinated about, because you do have UFO, Bigfoot, Mothman, wraiths. You have overlaps where people are seeing on the same night, seeing several things. I mean, it only makes sense to me that they may be seeing something physical, but their brains are interpreting it differently because of the vibrational fields.
So we went up to the we used to go up there with Amy and Jason up at the Hinsdale house. So we
Yeah.
did 3 separate years there where we had a camp out. So the one year we had our frequency machine. Okay. So you want to talk about a perfect storm, say it was on the night of a major geomagnetic storm, okay, coming from the sun.
Yep.
We were by the pond, which
Yep.
had a tension wire over it. Remember that? I mean, did they have the pond there? Then they have that.
It's still there.
Okay.
It's
So
still there.
there's water, conductor of electricity. There's the high tension wire. Geomagnetic storm. Our frequencies. I'm telling you, Tim, we played it, and you can ask Jason and Amy about this. There was about 15 of us there. All of a sudden, up in the sky, it looked like this black ring. Okay, lightning inside of this black ring, and it looked to be like 2 black clouds, like almost appendages. I said the closest thing that people would know is if anyone saw Stranger Things in that cloud. Never, did you watch Stranger Things? I don't know if you watched it at all.
I've seen some, yes.
So yeah, it was like a black cloud, and then there was appendages coming down, and we watched it for about 10 seconds, and it just dissipated. And no one thought, even me. I mean, I'm like, we were so stunned that nobody
yeah, of
could
course.
take pictures of this. And that's it, Tim. I don't know. Maybe to me, it had to be the perfect storm. You know, the perfect frequency, the perfect storm, the perfect time, and boom, boom, and then it's gone. I mean,
I
there's
believe
so much to that.
I believe that everything has it all is timing. It's all a matter of timing. All the paranormal stuff that I've done, all the outside stuff that I've done. And when I mean outside, meaning all the Bigfoot, expeditions and going out in the woods and trying to do some kind of contact work with ancestors and all this. I believe you have to be the right person at the right place at the right time with the right energy and frequency that's surrounding you.
Yeah.
And
Jamie and Jenny King always say, yeah.
oh, and it's kind of unique because now up at the Western Block we've been experimenting with sound frequency.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like an infrasound. It's almost like an infrasound.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't use it, it's kind of flat. But when we use it, all of a sudden now it starts to go and build. And you start getting more and more interaction. Now, you have to be really careful with that because that can, if you have a pacemaker, that'll short out your pacemaker, with the frequencies and energy and that sort of stuff. But, keeping it at a low level, now we're starting to see more. And you're starting to get more, shadow beings almost. People are taking pictures. And again, I hate when people take photos with like their cell phones and stuff, because you're using plastic lenses and, it's like, but in the same location, several people are photographing the exact same thing. A black mass that is cylindrical. I often wonder if, again, this place is located across the street from the Erie Canal. There are raceways all underneath it, which are all man-made tunnels where the water would come in and out and it would power all the machinery and stuff. There's underground springs in that area. We're talking about being in a building built with Medina sandstone, which is high density quartz, all permeating it.
Yep.
Are we creating an artificial portal? Are we creating a portal for something these intelligent beings to actually come through? And they're manifest now for us because we're paranormal investigators. Are they manifesting for us as shadow people?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we were to take that, the vibration and everything, and put it out in the field, I often wonder if it would manifest in a different form. Let's say we're not paranormal investigators. Let's say we're cryptozoologists out there looking. I'm wondering if it would go and manifest in that type of a form.
Yeah, see, in some of these winged entity sightings,
yeah,
those two, we just call them winged entity. We don't call them Mothman, or so you could call them winged humanoids.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're seen. So, a flowing river, okay, by railroad tracks, and then high wires, not high tension, but just so you got three three possible sources of energy. Are all those energies combining, and these things can come through? Again, it's another working hypothesis, I guess you call it. I do. There's something to with all of these with energy. There has to be. Has to be. I mean,
and again, you know what? I get a kick out of the people looking, hunting Bigfoot. That just, I mean, I get a kick out of that because I'm thinking to myself, if this is something that is manifesting here through a portal into a physical form where it can leave footsteps or something behind, it leaves something. Don't you think that by the time you go and hunt this thing or try to find it, it's already gone? And I think, and I'm a firm believer that, like, all of these cryptids, they are gone in a flash. I have yet to. Well, I haven't got. You've interviewed more people on the subject than I have, but I've yet to find somebody who was had a solid 15 to 20-second run. Where the house shook, they saw something look in a window, but a 15 to 20-second run is like an eternity. And yet I have yet to everybody talks about snippets. I can tell you when I saw the little girl in the Hinsdale house at the bottom of the stairs with my eyes objectively, and I blinked them and she was still there. She was there 12 seconds. I can tell you that because I was in my head going 1,000, 1,000, 2,003. And she was solid there until a noise, I kind of looked off and she was gone. But no power in the house, but you had sunspots going all over the place. There was a storm that had just gone through. You had high barometric pressure. All this stuff could have gone and fed into it. And being a paranormal investigator and knowing the story, interviewing Clara Miller, who had lived in the house, knowing what happened, whatever it was could have come through a portal and just gone or interdimensional portal and given me what I wanted to see, or what it expected me to see, or what my brain interpreted. So I mean, to me, it's an amazing thing. The other thing is that I had a guest on last week. We talked about proof and evidence. We're not in a spot, any of us, to have really go and have measurable results. I mean, we and repeatable results. We can find patterns, but we don't. None across the board. We don't have that. I mean, we've gotten tracks, but as an actual being, no. And again, snippets. We don't have those things, and I think that's what keeps us, all of us, going. Don't you?
Yeah. See, the thing is, when Terry, Fred, and I started this dog man, they were laughing at us. They were laughing behind our backs, saying, "These guys are talking about werewolves. They're nuts." So once we started doing it, we were like the first ones around here to really bring this to the forefront to the people.
I knew. I can't think now. Her name just Linda Godfrey.
Yeah,
I knew her. I got a chance to meet her. I got a chance to interview her.
I met her 2 or 3 times. Yeah,
she was just I loved her book, The Beasts of Bray Road.
Yes,
amazing. Just an amazing author and a great researcher. And even back then, when I first met her, the first time I met her, I thought to myself, "Wow, this is like science fiction to me." This is I'm waiting for Lon Chaney to jump out from behind a bush. But the more I talked to her, I started to see a pattern, and I started to see something that I was kind of like, well, maybe. And then I remember, I think you and I talked about it one day, and I went, wait a minute, this guy's actually, because I always consider you on the level, and we talked about it, and it was like, holy crap. And you're right. Back when you guys were talking about it, it was only horror fiction with werewolves back then. Back then it was only Bigfoot and actually Mothman was even was just starting back then, where it was starting to bring some. I think the movie was just coming out when we were talking about it.
Yeah, and we, they were laughing behind our back, saying there's nothing to it. Then when we started to go to these libraries, these conferences, and talking about it, not going to mention names, but a certain couple, wow, they're getting more publicity than us. We better start doing it. They didn't care about
that's
they didn't care about the phenomena. They're like, wait a minute, how can we
Yeah.
cash in, or how can we talk about it, with no interest and still kind of like on the sly, but it's like, hey,
Yeah.
let's, and even like our group, Center for Cryptozoological Studies in 2012, we wanted to bring that term out more to the public. Then other ones joined in and started, using it too, but we actually brought that term out, and not brought it out, but we actually were publicizing that term.
right,
Cryptozoology, and we've become known as, they don't just do Bigfoot, guys. They do werewolves. They'll do a rig. They'll do winged entities. They'll do thunderbirds. They will do. We always say we do, and we take reports on things that nobody else wants. Very few groups out there do what we do. I mean, there's some. I'm not going to say, but we never put it this way, Tim. When we brought out CCS, Center for Cryptozoological Studies, we could have called it Center for Bigfoot Studies, and I'm like, I don't want to be just a Bigfoot group. I don't. I mean, I've done, and it's still the biggest part of what we do. Don't get me wrong, but I don't just want to do Bigfoot. I don't, Tim. There's too many more interesting things than just to focus on one thing.
I agree.
God bless the ones that do that and put their just in that. I mean, they're passionate. You got to give them credit. It's not a slight or anything, but it's just not what we wanted to do.
I think a lot of it is, you're right. I think a lot of it is, well, as the fads change, I start seeing the same people changing direction. And now we all know, like, the paranormal the paranormal fad is totally changed. Production companies don't want anything to do with paranormal, basically. But I'm seeing all these people changing over, and they're doing something, not true crime, but they're doing conspiracies, and they're doing all of this stuff where it's like, it's kind of related, but it's not related. But they're only doing it. Their heart and soul isn't into it. They're only doing it for, to stay on TV or to go and make their money at conferences and stuff. And that's a shame. That, to me, is a shame. And I've been a lot like you and Terry. I mean, I've been interested with all this stuff across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's one and the same, and it's not fractionated. And I think, let me ask you this, because I got to ask you this. You've been around. You're an old dog like me. You're an old dog like me. Why do you think everything is so fractionated? Why do you think, like, the paranormal people really don't have anything to do with the cryptozoological people? Why do you think, like, a lot of the cryptozoological people don't want anything to do with the UFO people? I mean, I've noticed this, and I have noticed that they become they're like intricate pockets where you and Terry and myself and Fred and a couple other people, we're kind of taking the whole thing as one big enchilada. Everything is everything is interrelated.
Yes.
Why do you think everybody is, like, so fractionated with that?
I think that, especially like I think the ghost people more in general, I think they look down more on the Bigfoot and the UFO people more.
Unfortunately, you know what, at the big conferences, not so much, but I do see it in that team level. Like, when we start going down to smaller conferences and at that team level, I agree with you there 100%.
It's we're in all three phases, so we, it's still mainly cryptid, but I just think some of it's ego. They want to feel superior. It's like, I only do Bigfoot, I don't care about dogman or winged entities. That's beneath me. Just Bigfoot. I think when you say, cryptozoology, that means search for hidden or unknown animals not recognized by science, right? And not just Bigfoot. And there's so many Bigfoot groups out there, Tim. I mean, they're just crawling. Bigfoot conference almost every other weekend if you take it across the United States.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Our group has never, I hate to say it, we've never really been totally accepted by the Bigfoot crowd either. We really haven't. Probably because it's like, these guys are doing UFO research, paranormal. They're looking for werewolves. That they're beneath us. I mean, and you can feel it. You can feel it. Like even at some of these conferences, even at HillCon, it's like, oh, the ghost people. They were, it's mainly still a ghost thing,
right?
And, a couple people, really were interested in crypto, so they came over, and the talk went good. It was over 30 people, and they really enjoyed it. Because I would say, hey, how many of you heard about this? And some of them, they didn't put their hands up. They weren't. You could tell they weren't in it. It wasn't the crowd, but they enjoyed it.
Right.
I think a lot of it's ego, Tim. It's just, hey, I'm a ghost hunter. I'm above these two. Hey, I've researched UFOs, and then there's the cryptid people. It's like they all look. Hey, like you said, I think a lot of it is interconnected. But if you say that, like especially if you're a quote unquote cryptozoologist, you're looking for something you could put on a slab or you could find dead in the woods. Okay, it's probably actually would be the easiest to prove because all you need is a corpse. How are you ever going to totally prove ghosts? Which I do believe out of everything, ghosts exist more than everything. I do, but I still think the ghosts are going to be the hardest to ever prove them.
Agreed. I agree there. Well, and here's the thing that just drives me insane. You're a legend buster like I am. You and I, we love legends. We love mythology. We love all of that. I mean, I love it. If I get a chance to sit down with a Native American and he's a storyteller and he's telling these stories, the legends of his ancestors, that is amazing. You start, you get somebody like that, like first or second generation here in the United States from the old country, and they're telling you some of these crazy legends that they do it and why they do certain things. You and I are like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing to hear. And we absorb it. Where other people are going, well, I'm not so interested in it. Well, you know what? Vampires. Yeah, I mean, that's Vlad Dracul, and, and that was a historic thing, and it's coming back to life. But nobody, why, it drives me insane because of the fact that it's like for every legend, there is a little bit of truth someplace in there. Yes. And you got to look for that. And that is what keeps me going constantly.
It's fun. It's, like I said, next year will be 40 years, and we've enjoyed the hell out of what we're doing with who we're doing it with. We got a small group of awesome people, and you know most of them. Leah, the Ruperts, Fred.
Yeah.
You've met them, and you see they're good people. We're not out to make names for ourselves. We're just out to research the mystery. Because at the end of the day, when we move on to the next phase or the next plane, no one's hardly going to remember us. Just remember what we did. Remember the group name. Remember.
Oh my, yeah. Matter of fact, we were just talking about, the friends of mine and I were just talking about this. It's like, do you want to be remembered? No. Did you want to do something that you may be remembered for in some small capacity? I say yes. And the reason why I say yes is because it's like, I want to be able to go and just like let people know that I had such a great time, and life is full of mysteries, and we keep that childlike wonderment at these mysteries. When we were small kids, all this stuff was like eye-opening to us. And as we grow older, it's like, well, it's kind of soiled. It's not as glowing. It's not as horrific. It's not as like a thrill ride. But we get a chance to still be able to get out there and do this. Yeah. And every time I do something, every time I go out in the woods, or you know me, I'm out there digging up tombstones in an 1800 cemetery. Every time I'm out there, every time I find something, every time somebody tells me a story, I am like enthralled, going, "Wow, this is great!" And then that childlike wonderment just rolls right back in, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I love it so much.
Yeah. You have to. We always say too in our presentations, enjoy. If you're looking for Bigfoot, don't expect to find anything, but enjoy the outdoors. Enjoy. Maybe you see an animal you haven't seen. That experience. That's what it's about. Number one.
Exactly.
Everything else, we never expect to see anything or find anything, but man, do we have a good time doing it? And I'm going to do it. We'll do it we'll start to slow down. I mean, we are slowing down now. Okay, just turned 62, by the way, Tim, not a couple months ago. So,
Dude, I just turned 68, so I know the feeling.
so you walk a little slower. You got a little bit more cramps. You
Yep.
a
You
day or
can't
two.
do the mileage. You can't. I remember when you and I used to have the rucksacks, and we would be walking out with the rucksacks, and then we went into the camera vests, and we had everything in the camera vests, and it was like, yeah. And now it's sort of like, if we have a little bag about this big, that's more than enough.
Yeah, yeah. You learn you adjust as you get older. So, but hey, that doesn't mean you can't have fun. Hey, I did want to say one thing too. Going
Sure.
back, I forgot about Tom Brown.
Yeah.
There's a book out there, and you have it, Way of the Scout, right?
Yep.
And I had a researcher friend. I guess I can mention his name now. He ended up passing away. It's William Dragines. So he's the one that told me. He says, Brian, he says, read Tom Brown's Way of the Scout. He told me that. Then he paused and he goes, "That's Bigfoot." You read it.
Yes.
He
Oh,
said,
yes.
"That's Bigfoot." How you hide in the shadows. You watch what people do. That's what the Apache the Apache chiefs taught him.
Yeah. The Medicine Society. Yes.
Yeah. So it's and a lot of it makes sense. Like we used to live next door to my cousin. Every Saturday, they would go to the horse races and get pizza and come home almost same time. I'm like, so if there's something out there, if you live in the woods and there's something out there, watching your house, watching your patterns, people are predictable. Tim,
Yes, they
people
are.
predictable. You know where to hide. You know where to hide in the shadows. You know what to do. A lot of it, like if you can break down even the Bigfoot phenomenon, it's such common sense. If you can try to think like what these creatures do, they're out still mainly more at night. We're out in the day, right? You do the opposite of what your number one predator is, and we're the number one predator in the world. We all know
Yep.
that, right? So it watches you and it says, you know what? It's daylight. I think I'm gonna go hide back in this cave here or this tree for a while until it gets dark. It gets dark. I own the woods. So a lot of it, Tim, makes so much sense. And I hear the reports, they're almost the same over and over and over again. Whether it's here or the Pacific Northwest, the behaviors are almost all the same. I'm talking about Bigfoot here right now, but the behaviors are the same. Just the observers are different. I mean,
But it's true, because we have to think about it like this. Tom Brown Jr. When I took that seminar, which was amazing, he goes, I train special forces.
yes,
I train them the way you have got to go and to survive. The animals will survive by doing X, Y, and Z, not making eye contact, because the minute you make eye contact, they've got you. By not moving, you can go and you can be as camouflaged as you want in a ghillie suit, and you can be spotted if you're moving or whatever. It was a whole science to do things. Now, what do you think? If you go out there and you go into you go to Uganda, and you go out there on looking for gorilla and the gorilla families, and you start with the mountain gorillas, don't you think that for every one mountain gorilla that you see, that there's not 20 someplace else looking? It's the same thing with deer. When you're out hunting, you may see one, but how many are you missing?
yeah,
So, I mean, this is, a lot of people don't understand that. And that is a big thing and that's, I learned that from Tom Brown Jr., Jr., because he was like huge into the art of stealth and the art
yes,
and don't you think that, where did he learn it from? I know where he learned it from. He learned it from his adopted Apache grandfather. Where did he learn it from? From all his ancestors who observed nature in its rawest component. So, what makes you think that these cryptids are not going out there and learning this and knowing this stuff intrinsically and instinctually? So, I mean, so they're using their own instincts, and we're rapidly losing all of that. I don't want to get down on somebody, but there's a guy, local guy that's out there tripping around for looking for cryptids, right? It's like, dude, you have to understand animals in order to kind of understand this. You can't go out there during the day looking. You can't go out there during. You've got to be able to sit there. You've got to have patience. And people are not doing that in this society. We're not taught patience. We're not taught to sit quiet. We're not taught to project ourselves forward. We're not taught everything that is, basic muscle memory. We're not taught like that. We're taught everything is factual and it has to be 1, 2, 3. Instant gratification.
And yeah, remember, like as a society, we're like, if you think about it, we're like the 1 day society. Okay, so today, unfortunately, Ozzy Osbourne passed. So you see 1,000 posts on Ozzy Osbourne, everything sad. Okay, then they'll show his funeral or whatever a day or two after. After that, boom. What's the next subject? Okay, it's Israel bombs Iran. Okay, let's talk about let's have everything is so condensed. Once it's done, it's done. And that's the interesting thing, especially even like about Bigfoot. If this is all a hoax, okay, like from years and years back, people wouldn't be talking about still seeing things. All these
right.
They're still, no matter what the negative people say, it's like, okay, how do you explain sightings happening all over the country and the world, pretty much most of the world, constantly? If it was like all fixed or people, then it would end. People don't have that time. What do you call it?
We don't have that focus.
They don't have that focus. I mean, people, they shift from this to this, and then it goes to this, like the Coldplay thing where they caught that kiss cam. Okay, yeah. I must have seen 30 memes. They're putting different people in there, but okay, in 2 days, it's going to be gone.
But this is it. This is what I think is amazing, because we have long-term sightings of everything, of all these cryptids. Long-term, going all the way back here in North America, going all the way back to the ancestors. We're going, almost Neolithic, and it's like, why is it still grabbing attention? Why are people still seeing this? Why are people still interested in it? Whereas our society is doing its best to go and just make us put on blinders and, okay, here's your commercial. Buy what's on the commercial and keep going. George Orwell, 1984. So it's to me, there is something to it. And again, we always go back to why, instead of, too many people are always hung up on what is it. My question is always, why is it here? Why is it doing? And by asking that question, I think it's easier to ascertain and understand what's going on, rather than going in, well, what is it? I want hard proof. I want, instead of, let's just let this sit out there in the realm of belief for a while and see where it goes. You know what? If it goes nowhere, so what? We got together, a couple of us, we sat around, we had a nice evening, we chatted. There's no problem. But too many people are looking for that stress. They want that. They want it. Mm-hmm. You're never going to get anything unless you want, that you want that fiercely.
Yeah. See, everybody wants either black or white. And in truth, a lot of these things, it might be right in the middle in the gray area. I always kind of like say, I bring, okay, well, a lot of this is in the gray area. People don't want to hear that. No, you got one or the other. Why? Why can't there be? So if there is a Bigfoot, for sure, why can't there be a flesh and blood creature and like an interdimensional? Why does there have to be one or the other? Why can't there be both? Why? I mean, I always tell people, I live my life. I live a why not life, not why.
Exactly. Yeah. People, but again, people want that. People were brought up in that society, and unfortunately, it permeates even the sciences, the scientific community. It's like, it has to be hardcore 100% across the board. I understand that. I truly understand that. But what happens if we just can't? We're not at that point yet. What happens if we're? It's like, why not just accept what's going on and wait for that, let's say, science to catch up? Why do we need it that badly? Why do we need that proof that badly? And don't get me wrong, whenever I see something in a house or whenever I see something in a field crossing and I can't explain it, it's like, holy crap. But that's never what I'm out looking for.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to, I'm out there for the personal experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say live a why not life. I mean, I think people are, I think you have to be skeptical, but if you live in that realm, you're missing out on a lot of enjoyable things in life to me. And, well, why not think, yeah, maybe there could be something. Life's a whole lot more interesting if you think, hey, why not? What else is out there?
Exactly. And it all comes back even to the belief that everything that we do shouldn't be broken up. It shouldn't be fractionated. Everything we do should lead into something else. Everything is a big ball of wax. Let's not break it up. Let's go and just enjoy it and see what we can do and see how everything fits together. And if it doesn't fit, that's fine. Let's go and just keep going and just keep looking. Nobody's better than that. It could be. Again, a UFO can go and land in a paranormal investigator's backyard, and they may say it's paranormal. I don't think it is X, Y, and Z. I think it's this, because they won't accept it. That's ridiculous. Let's accept it all. Brian, what are you up to? We're at the end of the show already. Oh my God! It's because we don't get a chance to talk that often.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, wow. Okay.
What are you up to? You got anything going on pretty soon? You going anywhere? You gonna do some talks, or what's going on?
We have a talk. Let me think. We have a talk next month at the Toronto, Ohio Historical Society. Me and Fred are doing separate talks, and then we have the Monaca. Terry and I are doing it in September. That's a big one for us.
Awesome.
I have a couple other ones after that. Our Bigfoot Day in October, and then Terry's on a panel in November. I did a panel earlier in the year at Bethel Park Library. It's on alien abductions. So she's on at this time, and I get to sit and watch.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, my gosh. That's awesome. Brian, stay on the line.
Sure.
I want to thank you properly off air. But, Brian, thank you so much. It's always good. We got to just call each other once in a while and just shoot the bull. And
I'm telling Terry, I'm like, we got to get together with Tim. I mean, maybe we'll come up to New York and spend some time. Would love to go up there maybe next year.
Now, if you ever get back up to Hinsdale, let me know. I'm about 2 hours away.
Okay. I'd love to get back up there. It's just, it's not cheap to go up there for two people. You know what I mean?
No, I know. Believe me. But there's a couple other places we're looking at. I'll let you know what we're doing. And who knows? Maybe you leave the holler. I love that. I'm so sorry, Brian. I just think it's the greatest thing. I love that.
Well, what we tell people is we say we're in Hancock County, which is between PA and Ohio.
Right.
And, we tell people that we are the tip of the middle finger of West Virginia. If you look at we're right here, guys.
And if you know West Virginia, everybody go and check a topo map. You guys don't know what he means.
So, yeah, we always
that's right. Yeah. Stay on the line. I'll be back in a couple seconds. I love Brian. I don't get a chance to talk to him that often. And when I first met him, he was probably one of the most giving guys, one of the most interesting guys. He really spent so much time talking, and it was just so much fun. And I've got to get down to West Virginia just to go and hang out and maybe you know what, maybe this summer I may go and take a little ride someplace and maybe surprise him if I get a chance to. I'll end up going somewhere, nowhere, who knows where. So anyway, guys, till next week, you've been listening to the Black Cat Lounge here on the Paraflex I can't say it. The Paraflix Entertainment Network, and you're here where the elite meet next to the dumpster transfer stations. Ciao, babies. Be good. Be wild. Hang out. Be kind to each other. And, well, don't be fractionated. Allow every modality to kind of fade into each other. You'll find out that things work so much better. Ciao.